Thank you for tuning into Tanaka TV, the best and future biggest fight channel on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like, that comment, that subscribe button. We're trying to get this channel to over 2K subs by the end of the year. We cannot do that. This channel cannot do that without your support. So thank you for those who support this channel, and thank you for those who will support this channel in the future. I truly appreciate it. Now, I know it's been a decade since I've done my last video. Man, there's been a lot of things going on, and sometimes you just need an extended break away from things to come back better, right? You know, it's not about stopping, it's about halting so you can come back better, baby. Okay, but I had to come back off of some big news. Jon Jones retiring. Now, I don't know if he's gonna hit us with that George St. Pierre thing, you know, where he might retire and then come back 2 years later just to show how damn good of a fighter he is. But for me, that's besides the point. And you're like, what you mean, D? That's the big news. He retired. It's big news, but for me, there's bigger news. The man is in legal trouble again. For like the 15th time. Let me walk you guys through this man's legal rap sheet. I'm about to go straight up Law and Order on y'all, okay, people? Because a lot of y'all are saying he's ducking Tom Aspinall. He's ducking Tom Aspinall. He's a duck. He's a duck. Quack, quack. He's a duck. And maybe that's true. But in my mind, Tom Aspinall is not the biggest threat to Jon Jones. The biggest threat to Jon Jones is Jon Jones. He's always been his biggest threat. And we can sit here and say that Jon Jones is the greatest fighter of all time, that he's pretty much undefeated outside of that one loss that nobody really counts. But Jon Jones, although an undefeated fighter against many others, he takes multiple L's almost bi-yearly. Every other year he takes an L by doing something against the law. And we're not saying that it's something that's like, you know, petty. A lot of the things that he's getting himself involved in is kind of a big deal, right? So let me walk y'all down memory lane. In May 2012, Jones was involved in an accident where he drove his car into a telephone pole in New York. At the time, Jones was arrested for driving under the influence and later pleaded guilty to the DUI. 2 years later, August 2014, in the lead up to UFC 178, Jones and Daniel Cormier were involved in an altercation during fight week media obligations, and the two needed to be separated and received punishment for the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Jones was fined $50,000 and sentenced to 40 hours of community service. That one I'll check off, because that happens. That happens in the heat of competition as a fighter. Let's throw that one away. 2015, the next year, Jones was scheduled to fight at UFC 182 when prior to the fight, he tested positive for a metabolite called benzoylecgonine. I can never say that, which is a known metabolite of cocaine. That booger sugar. That white girl, that Britney Spears, okay? He tested positive. And then again tested prior to the fight and tested clean, so he was able to compete. After the event, he admitted to making a mistake and put himself in rehab for a day. That same year, April 2015, Jones was fresh off his UFC 178 win over Cormier and seemed to be riding high when he again found himself in legal trouble. Jones was arrested in Albuquerque, New Mexico after leaving the scene of a hit and run. In a hit and run, Jones was charged with a felony of leaving the scene of the crime and having a marijuana pipe in the vehicle. One of the victims of the hit and run was a pregnant woman. Jones turned himself in to the police and was scheduled to 18 months of probation and community service. As a result of the felony, Jones was stripped of his UFC belt. He would be absent from competition for a year. Okay. 2019. So this is 4 years later. So he had a 4 year good stretch. Jones was charged with battery following claims from a waitress that Jones hit her and assaulted her. Jones pleaded no contest to this charge and was placed on a 90-day probation. The next year after that, 2020, Jones was arrested after a police officer heard gunshots and went to investigate. When the officer arrived, they found Jones in his Jeep intoxicated. He failed a field sobriety test as well. Police found a gun and a partially empty bottle of mezcal in the car and charged Jones with aggravated DWI, negligent use of a firearm, possession of an open container, and driving with no proof of insurance. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 4 days of arrest. September 21, so this is the next year. Just hours after being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, Jones was arrested after police responded to a domestic violence incident. According to a police report, Jones' daughter requested police to be called after her mother was locked out of the hotel room following an argument with Jones. While Jones was being questioned, he headbutted a police car, resisted questioning, threatened the officers, and was eventually arrested. Jones' longtime coach asked Jon to leave the gym after this incident. In 2022, the year after that, the domestic violence charge against Jones was dropped. Instead, he was charged and pled guilty to a felony tampering with a police vehicle charge and paid a $750 fine. The year after that, 2023, on April 5th, an article UFC Jon Jones was involved in an incident with someone looking to collect a sample from him for the UFC new anti-doping program. The outlet reported that the sources claim Jones appeared extremely intoxicated and threatened to kill the tester and even took his phone from him. The incident is alleged to have happened at the end of March, but was not reported until April. The outlet also reported that Albuquerque Police Department responded to the call and is currently investigating the alleged criminal act. This report was confirmed by the police incident report. Jones has been charged with 2 misdemeanors stemming from April 2023 incident, including the drug testing administrators. If convicted, he would face jail time and fines. So this article is a bit old. Okay, so I think that is decided. That took me how long to explain this man's... That took me like 5 solid minutes to explain the long list that this man has gotten himself involved in. And now, on cue, about a year later, a year and some change, year and a half, he is involved in another legal case. I believe it to be a hit and run. He's already been in one of those. Now, I didn't read completely into detail as to why he was involved in this hit and run, but I'm going to give a wild guess. I don't know, just shooting the dart into the dark here. I don't know. I'm just kind of like picking a needle out of a haystack. Hopefully it's correct. I bet he was intoxicated. I bet he was. Because that seems to be the trend for Jon Jones. And we can say that Jon Jones needs a support system around him. Yes, surely he does. Everybody needs a support system around them to help them through situations. But Jones has got to hold himself accountable. He keeps going in front of, the cameras, and he's apologized to the UFC a billion times. He's apologized to his family, his friends, his fans a million times. And eventually, people start to see you as disingenuous. You have Philippians across your chest. You used to be this one with God kind of person, and then you dropped that persona because you knew the kind of person you were. Now, I'm not here to bash anyone's maybe internal battles, right? We all have our thing. But you can't keep apologizing and making the same mistakes. Eventually, you need to seek help. Do something. Do something different. But to continue down this path, I don't know. He has daughters. He has a family at home. Getting yourself into legal trouble consistently, that's not a good look. You were the first UFC fighter to be sponsored by Nike, and because of the trouble you continue to put yourself in, you were dropped by Nike. That was huge. And you were dropped by Nike. I don't know, man. I hope, I really do hope that Jones finds the help that he needs. I'm not going to sit here and seem like I'm going to bash Jones for possibly the internal battles that he faces. But I am going to bash him for continuously making bad decisions. I can bash you for that because it's consistent. And it gets to a point of, when do you learn? Again, you have a family. You have daughters at home. You have a wife at this point, I think, at home. That doesn't mix well with legal trouble. So like I said, people, Jones is the greatest UFC fighter of all time. Pretty much undefeated against everybody that stepped in front of him in that octagon. But he can't seem to beat himself. Comment down below, people, what you think about this, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.